Stuart was supported by the organisation for 36 years. I knew him for 19 years.
I've worked with Stuart for 16 years. Stuart was born with Down syndrome, and obviously at the latter stages he had dementia, which is the reason why we're talking about Stuart. He was in hospital. When I first started working with Stuart was very independent. He loved to do everything for himself. We done what Stuart told us we had to do. We didn't go in and just, right, Stuart, we're doing this. Stuart would say, this is what we're doing today. It was very person-centred. Whatever Stuart wanted to do, that's what Stuart done. Kept his flat lovely and clean, just with some support from his staff. We would take him on holiday. Oh, he was never in. He just had a fantastic social life.
Over that time, I've always known Stuart. I've always been involved in services in and around where Stuart lived. So Stuart was always a big character in that block where he lived. So I've always known Stuart. He was somebody that you always passed on the stairwell and would have a chat with, and he would fill you in his day. He was always full of mischief, just that quite a big character. For a small man, he was a very big character.
Probably from past experience. He spoke to another gentleman approximately 10 years ago, and it was a really poor experience. It was a really bad experience. In respects of the medical care that he got wasn't the best, and we weren't allowed to kind of participate in supporting him as how we would have liked to have. And in some ways we feel that kind of contributed to some of the medical conditions. He ended up with bed sores, which in our opinion was not acceptable, and made for a really painful death for him.
Stuart's staff, we were with him round the clock. We were there all the time. My own personal, all I can say is if I felt Stuart needed anything from medical staff, be it medication or aspiration, anything that I asked for, they did. They come in and they attended to him. Everybody present in the room, we all started crying because to me it was one of the most peaceful. Somebody came and met Stuart and he was ready to go, and it was lovely at the end. It was very, very peaceful, and it's what Stuart deserved. And he had people round about him that really cared about him, including Harry, who only knew him for several days. But to me, it was lovely. Couldn't have asked for any more.
Personally, you can look back and smile and not feel sad or guilty or have regrets, which I think is very rare sometimes when somebody's in hospital towards the end. You always think, if I'd done this, if I'd said that. Certainly on a personal level I don't have that with Stuart, and I certainly, in speaking to the team, don't feel that they have that as well. That Stuart was very well cared for by his team, his support team from Potential Living, and the staff in the ward. And he had the additional support that we had at the end, and I had the pleasure of meeting Harry towards the end as well. And I don't come from a religious background, and Harry didn't come across to me in that religious manner. It was very much a support network, and I found it was a support network provided by the NHS that was second to none, for the staff team and for Stuart. And it just made everything so much easier towards the end, and everything just fell into place.
Probably the involvement of Harry was the best part of Stuart's care. The medical care was there, and our support was there, but Harry made the difference to both Stuart and to the staff team that were supporting Stuart. He always appeared when he was needed. He just seemed to be there. He got to know Stuart through us, obviously, because that time Stuart wasn't very conscious, and the vast majority of the time he was unconscious. So Harry asked us loads and loads of questions about Stuart, telling stories, which helped us as well, in the sense of we were kind of reliving all the good times again, because for a long time, because of his dementia, we didn't forget about it, but he kind of brought to the forefront the kind of character who Stuart was, and we were able to kind of relive all that with Harry.
Obviously with Harry, I had previous experience from Harry because I'd lost my brother-in-law just In fact, it was probably only a few weeks before. So, and then I saw Harry, and which is why I asked him if he would come up and see Stuart, and he was really a great help to all the staff, all the girls, all their staff. He was really a good help. And having them there at the end, it's not nice to say it's a nice ending for Stuart, because obviously Stuart was passing away, but it just made everything so much nicer.
Stuart's full experience towards the end, the support he got, the support that the NHS staff themselves provided, but also the opportunity that the NHS staff gave to potential living to continue Stuart's support was crucial in that matter. It was like Stuart's family were allowed to do all the things that you would want to continue to do, but have that medical backup. So it was a partnership, and I think if we can learn anything, that would be key for me.
I think the service that Harry and other people provide, maybe the staff should be making it a wee bit more common knowledge that just there is somebody there if you want to speak, if you want to come in and have a wee chat or a wee prayer. I think if we hadn't met Harry when we did, that experience that Stuart got at the end, what his staff team got, we would have missed out on that, and we wouldn't be having this conversation today, and it would have ended so much different for Stuart. I think because myself, the other staff that were present that weekend, we really didn't need to be there. We agreed that Stuart was not going to be on his own. He got care from 8:30 to 9 o'clock at night. We decided that he wasn't going to be on his own. And I think Harry was quite taken aback with that. So that's how we got into the conversation about nobody should be on their own. And I've said that I would be really, really interested in getting involved in that. So I think it's something that should really be looked into, because it's a fantastic idea.
Harry went over and above anything that we could have expected from a hospital chaplain. Like the staff, the people that we supported, the people who Harry then came along and took part in the service at Stuart's funeral. He didn't need to do that. He didn't need to do that. He got to know Stuart, and it was really obvious that he got to know Stuart, and he got to know us, and he supported us after Stuart had passed away. And what more can you ask for? It was just perfect, absolutely perfect. And it was more when I think about somebody dying, whether it's in my own personal life or whether it's with the people that we support, it couldn't be more perfect or beautiful.